Hey mamas, today we are talking about curriculum organization, record keeping, and rewards. So the first thing I want to talk about is curriculum organization. The way I like to do this is by kid. I like to put things in a little basket. So I have a couple of baskets that I use. This is one of them. It is a rectangular rope basket. And in here I put all of the different books that go along with the lessons that we do. So Logic of English will have the textbook, so the book that I use to do my lessons out of in there. I'll have their workbook in there. I have all of their math books in there so that when it comes time for me to do a lesson with the kids, I can just easily go right to their basket, pull out what we need, and we're ready to go. The other things I like to keep in this basket are specific things like whiteboards and other materials that I know that we're gonna use for each lesson, especially for Logic of English. I also put in these binders for them. So each kid, the older two, have binders, and this one is my middle daughter, so hers is this light little blue color, and then I have pink for my oldest, and I use this primarily for Logic of English. So I will take out all of the workbook pages. This is something you'll see. So a lot of workbooks come with perforated pages, and I love it because this, I like to take out whatever lesson we're doing, and I will put the pages in this binder, and when we're ready, I will flip to that particular lesson and have them go to those workbook pages, and we work through it, and everything's nice and neat in the binder. One of the reasons why I like to tear out the perforated pages and put them in this binder is because we ran into an issue with a lot of the activities in the workbook that we needed the papers to lie flat, and they weren't going to do that in the workbook. So for example, we have a page here where the child needs to read a passage, and they have to cut out these animals and paste them in here. Well, when we just had everything in the book, it was really hard to hold down the book and then have them paste the pages. So now that I'm just taking it out of the book, they are able to just have it lie flat while we do the lesson, and it's so much easier to play all the games and do all the cutting and pasting activities that are in here. As far as curriculum work that's independent, I like to keep everything in a little bin like this. It's a rope basket, and I just put all of the kids' independent work in here, and this includes things like their flashcards and books that they're going to be reading for the week. And the reason why I put it in this basket is because the way that we do independent work around here is I will give them different assignments in each of the books, and they have the entire week to do it, but the requirement is that they do at least one new assignment a day. And I'll get a little bit more into that as I talk about the rewards. There are a few different ways that I like to sort the work. So at the beginning of the week, when I'm putting all of their independent work together, they have their non-negotiables. So those things like flashcards, their sight words, their sounds, things like that, that's always going to be in there. And I will add new things as they learn them. But as far as their workbooks, I will go through and make sure that I have starred everything that they need to work on. And I will put all of their loose pages in either a folder like this. So this is great. This comes from Target, and it has 2 pockets. It's pretty lightweight. It's not sturdy or anything like that, but it has this binder middle piece where you can actually put hole punches in loose leaf work and put it in here for the child to do. Really, really simple, keeps all of the pages together. But if I have just one piece of paper, I will just use a clipboard. When I am using the clipboard, I do like to take out the individual sheets after the kids do them, so that way it's not getting all crumpled up and just sitting in there really for no reason once they've accomplished it. As far as the curriculum that we have used or we're not using anytime soon, I like to keep that in a large plastic bin in our basement. Very simple. I like to keep all of our loose paperwork that we're going to do during a week in here. So I will tear it out ahead of time, put it in here, and it's sorted by subject, by grade. So that is a way that I like to keep organized there. And then once a child completes their loose paperwork. We put it in this mesh paper file, and these little folders I got from Target a little while ago, and I just put their names here. This is just general reading, writing, and math. And then anything extra, I kind of put it towards the back and I will file away later. And then once this paper file gets filled, I like to transfer everything to a binder. And then I will separate that binder into subjects, and I'll have one binder per kid. At the end of the year, I like to take all of the papers out of the binder and put them in a large binder. So the smaller binder is a 1-inch binder, and then the large binder is a 2-inch binder. It's huge and it can hold all of the kids' work from the entire school year. Now, this is a great segue into record keeping. So as I'm doing all of this loose leaf work, I'm organizing it, I also make sure I date it. I date everything. So all of their workbook pages that we're doing from our lessons, all of their workbook pages that they're just gonna keep in their actual workbooks, everything gets dated. And what I like to do is, if there's multiple pages, I will write the date that we started and then draw arrows to show that we did all of these pages on the same day, and then I put a little dot to indicate where we stopped. In particular, when I have the loose paperwork and I have everything dated, it's fantastic because when I go to put it in those binders later, then I have everything dated. I can actually organize it in order, and that really helps me to see the scope of what we learned across the entire school year. The other way that I like to keep track of what we are doing and what we have accomplished is I have this big whiteboard in our little gathering area, part of our homeschool room, and it has my oldest 2 daughters' names on it, all of the different workbooks and things that we're working through. And I like to keep track of their points there, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And I will also put anything that we've done with our unit study for the day and anything that we have done with our morning basket. In a previous video, I talked about forwards-looking planning and backwards planning, things like that. And this whiteboard gives me an opportunity to do backwards planning. So I write things down that we have accomplished, and anything that we didn't do, I just leave it blank, or for the unit study area and the morning basket area, I just draw a line to show that we did not get around to it that day. The other thing that I like to use for record keeping is simply a notebook. And if you saw my previous video, my notebook is where I keep all kinds of planning. Everything to do with planning for homeschool and life is done in my notebook. And so what I like to do is use it as a journal opportunity. So I'll write down the things that we have accomplished, and I also write down for each kid what they accomplished. So this helps me to keep track of all the things that they're doing on a daily basis, and I can corroborate that with what I wrote on the whiteboard, and also make sure that I have the dates that coincide with that as I've written them down in the different workbooks and pages and things like that. So now this brings us to a nice smooth transition to rewards. So as I showed you on the whiteboard and in my notebook, I like to keep track of what the kids are doing, not just writing them down, but also awarding points. So clearly, if I've written a certain amount of points down for each kid, that means that they did accomplish whatever that task was or assignment was for the day. So our point system translates into tokens, and then the tokens get put into jars, and once each child fills their jar with tokens, they can get a big point, and each of the big points represents something that they can cash in to get. So for instance, for 1 big point, they can get a lollipop. For 5 big points, they can get a trip out to have ice cream at our local creamery. As of right now, the point system only focuses on what each kid has accomplished in their day. And so I'm trying to figure out ways to extend that to things like behavior and work ethic, so on and so forth. And so I'll keep you posted about that in the future, because I really do want to make sure I have a solid system for approaching those different types of categories. The way that I broke up the points is pretty simple as well. I just have 1 point for our non-negotiables. So if you've seen other videos of mine, these things are just things that the kids have to do every single day. So for instance, going through math flashcards, going through sight words, doing handwriting, doing spelling, things like that. These are all non-negotiable items that the kids need to do every single day. So they get like 1 point here and there for those things. As far as our workbooks go, I like to give 1 point per page, and normally I assign 4 pages worth of work in each of those different workbooks for the kids to do during the week. And like I mentioned before, they need to work on at least one new assignment a day. However, what sometimes happens is maybe a child will get to do one workbook page, but they didn't complete the full 4 pages that they were assigned. So what happens in that case is I will just give them a check mark for the day showing that they did 1 page, or 2 check marks for 2 pages, so on. And when they actually get to the 4 complete pages, then they can get the full 4 points. But the other thing is there is an incentive to completing all of those pages, because if they decide to do more than that, they get 1 extra point per page. So let's say that one of my kids decides to do all of their assignments at the beginning of the week. So maybe the first 2 days of the week, they bang out all of the assignments. Then they have opportunities to do just 1 page a day in each of those books, and they keep racking up points. So there's a lot of incentive to get it done at the beginning of the week and then just kind of work through 1 page at a time and earn some extra points doing that. Thank you so much for joining me today, mamas. I hope that this video was helpful for you. Take care, be blessed, and I'll see you in the next one.